Money. That's a good thing, isn't it? Fighting for it. Everybody is. Fighting for money makes you happy because you're producing and you're growing. When you're growing, everybody who's growing is happy. But does money bring you happiness? That's my personal opinion. If you think that money brings you happiness, that's a mistake. You'll never be happy because you're never going to have that enough money that you think is the result of making happy. You're always going to be looking for the future. I also think it's a mistake if you think that you can be broke and happy at the same time. So that's my personal opinion. The podcast today, not blog, it's going to be towards this, being wise, the fake belief that you may have what dictates happiness in your life. We're going to cover that. I also wanted to clarify for some of you out there who always hear somebody talking about money and you automatically think that the person's showing off. So let me clarify here something. Continue to listen with an open mind because I'm self-aware enough to know that I don't have that. I haven't achieved that financial success that I'm looking for. Although I am happy with what I'm doing and happy to know that I'm fighting towards my reality, my perception of my own success. And I'm not trying to make believe here that to you guys that I have money because that would be stupid and fake. And I'm not fake, and I'm doing this based on a lot of books that I read, books on business, books on success, books on practical books on growing business and growing yourself. Many books, which if you don't believe the things that I'm saying here, go read a book. If you're lazy enough to read books, you might as well just listen to this. So stay with the introduction.
Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezalira.
We hear a lot. I've heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, money changed that person." After that person get money, it changed. Money changed people, and that's bullshit. Money doesn't change anybody. So first of all, what money does is money grows the person's attention, and let's just always remember that only 95%. There's only 1% that they actually has real wealth. Everybody else, a lot of people, the majority is middle class, so it's called middle class. But if you have the perception, if you think, and if you believe that, money changes the person, if you think that money changes the person for the worse, it's another thing that may be the reason why you never get money yourself, you never grow your financial wealth yourself, because if you have a negative connotation towards money, you're not going to achieve that. And let me explain to you why I think, and I believe based on all the people with money that I follow, and I'm not following those fake celebrities who create fames to themselves, become rich, and then go to the drug world and start getting addicted to all the bullshit. I'm saying this from people that I learned that are really wealthy and has a wonderful life, actually help people differently. It's not like the type of, let me help somebody to get credit by my other friends. That's not helping. That's not being charitable. Being charitable is when you give with one hand and the left hand doesn't know about, and your friend doesn't know about. And these are the people that I learn from, that I know, I get to know and learn from, is this type of wealthy people who they acquire money by being a wise person. And once they grow the money, they become it's not that they became even more wise. They had the ability to be more charitable, because they had more money to give. They were responsible, selfish with themselves at first, and they grow that wealth, and they didn't become more charitable. They were just as charitable, but they had the ability and more people to see it. The problem nowadays is that people think that money changes the person to the bad. It doesn't change anybody. If someone is a criminal, if someone's a middle class, doesn't have much money, doesn't create the wealth, doesn't make millions of dollars a year, if that person's a criminal and they start making a lot of money, it's just gonna prorate more. They're just gonna be a bigger criminal because they're gonna use the money to wrong things. They use the money for wrong things. It's not that the money used them. It's the other way around. You have a different perception. Instead of following those celebrities who die from drugs because they have a lot of money, you think the money does that. Clear that off your head. Because if you do think it that way, you're never gonna achieve the financial success. Because if you think negative about something, why do you fight for it? It's stupid when people go after and say, "Oh, that person turned them after that person got money, he changed." No, he did not change. After that person got money, he showed more. He got more attention and more people saw it. And you realized more. He had the ability to influence more people with his bad behavior. Or, as I like to see it, good people been influenced by good people and they acquire money and now they are influencing other people, more people with their good behavior. One thing you have to really work yourself on, if you're looking for financial success, if you think that once you achieve that, you're going to only do good, or if I get that, I'm going to do good, you may be mistaken. You might not know what good is. You have to learn how to be wise. And by that, I mean to understand that money won't bring you happiness. I'm not talking about the bullshit of, I'm going to say that money doesn't bring me happiness just to justify the reason why I don't have money. And so just to justify in my head that it's okay for me to not fight for bigger success, for bigger financial success. No, I'm saying that be wise to know that if you have $1 million in the bank, if you have $100,000, if you have $5,000 in the bank, if you have $5,000 in the bank right now, and if you think if I had $1 million, I'll be better off, I'll feel better. If I have 5 million, I'll feel even better. It's a whole different reality. That's not being wise. You gotta be wise enough to know, and that I learned from a lot of other people, a lot of successful people. And we all can experience. We don't have to be rich to experience from that. I have personally have that open-mindedness to understand that, hey, when I had a little bit less, and then now I have more than what I have 2-3 years ago, that did not change my happiness. It did not change my happiness, and it did not change what I think about myself. And it did not change my ambition to grow bigger. Nothing has changed. Nothing, literally nothing. And I'm sure you don't have to be wealthy to know that. You just have to be wise. Just have to learn. You just have to understand that, hey, if 3 years ago I was in a worse situation, but now I'm in a better situation, but I'm not like that guy who has $5 million or had $50 million. But I'm not that guy. If I was that guy, I would be big. Whatever. Quit that bullshit in your head, because nothing's gonna change. And if you're wise enough to know that you shouldn't fight to get more money to make you happy, because that's not, fight for what you want to accomplish, for a vision. And that vision of yours cannot be money, because the money will only come when you're fighting for a vision. The happiness will only come on the process of why you're fighting for the reason. And if you're fighting for the reason, for that vision, with your and full throttle every day obsessively, and that makes you excited because you're growing. If you're fighting for a vision, fighting really hard, you're growing, and growth brings happiness. So know that is what you gotta be fighting for, not for a quantity of money. Because if you spend your entire life thinking that a certain amount of money will bring you happiness, you're gonna spend your entire life fighting for something, having a fake reality of what happiness really is. And even once you achieve that, you're gonna be like, you're gonna feel unfulfilled, alone, and depressed, because you got that what you think is the ultimate happiness, and then you got to that point of getting it, you're like, oh shit, this is not it. Nothing changed. Because why this is not it? Because nothing freaking changes when you have more or when you have less. What does change is when you go from broke to work to paying your bills, then working to grow wealth. That's what changes. It sucks to work to only pay your bills. And the way you do that, you just read books and learning how to be wise, because that is gonna, you acquire money through being wise enough to understand that money is not all that. You don't want to undervalue, you don't want to overvalue the effect that money will have in your life, but you also don't want undervalue the amount of effect that money has in your life. Because let's portray something. Okay, you walk around something, go to events, whatever you do, whatever type of line of industry that you are. And if you got a good amount of money, if you're a wealth guy, you're gonna be treated better. You're gonna be, everything. Hey, sir, yes, sir. Yeah, what can I do? You're gonna have more respect, and that you're gonna feel better about yourself. Sure, you're gonna feel better about yourself if you know, getting respect towards you. Now, if you grow to a level where you may have more money than your peers and your neighbors and your friend and your family, whatever, you get to that point, and you feel you're above just because you have more money. That's when you know to yourself that if you feel above, if you feel like on top of everybody else, when in reality you don't have shit, and in reality you just grow a freaking small company that doesn't mean anything, or in reality you just got a little bit of a raise over your job, which didn't get you out of the middle class. You're still like the rest of the 80% of the world, just the middle class, which is fine. But if you think that you're above because you have a little bit more than your peers, you're not passing. That's not being wise. You're not growing further. There's no way you can grow further, because if you overthink of yourself, think of yourself more than who you really are, you're going to spend like someone who you are not. If you think you are rich and you're really not rich, you're just 80% of like everybody else, just like you're financially speaking, you're just middle lower class. And if you think you're in the higher class, you're going to spend like a higher class person and try to portray the fake lifestyle just to make yourself feel better. And you're never going to achieve that level of happiness or fulfillment, because you're going to be like just trying to fake, and you're never going to pass that, because you're not wise enough to understand that there is much more work to be done. And if you think like you've done everything, that clap to yourself, look at the mirror and clap to yourself and feel happy about it, because you're not growing anymore from there. So be wise and know that wisdom is the key element you have to acquire. Wisdom is what you have to acquire in order to achieve financial wealth. And there's a lot of things to being a wise man. There are a lot goes on there, a lot of points, and one of the points is knowing that no matter how much you make, if you make 1 million, there are guys that's gonna be making 5 million, and know that the 5 million reality is the same reality as yours. It doesn't change. It's only numbers. If you're making $10 million a year, or let's say, to be more realistic here, if you make $100,000 a year and you think that a millionaire is richer, is more happy, is in a different reality than you are, that's not being wise. He's in the same reality, nothing changes. And a lot of guys who had, I want to make $1 million as a goal, and they achieve $1 million, they look in the bank account and they feel frustrated, because they had the entire life thinking that $1 million or $5 million goal would have changed them, and when they see their bank account that they actually have made that, and you would feel frustrated, because you're like, oh shit, that's not how I expect it to be. And then you're gonna carry a miserable life with a little bit more money, because $1 million may be nothing, still is nothing compared to then you're gonna want a $10 million income, and then $100 million income, or from $5,000 to 10 to 20. It doesn't matter. It does not make a difference. So wisdom is the key element to acquire financial success. So read yourself. Don't think about a friend of yours. Think about yourself when you're listening to this podcast. Really analyze yourself. If you at one point you thought in your head, in any situation, wherever you are, you thought yourself above somebody else because you thought you had more money than that person, if you felt above your peers, that you're in if you feel unstoppable, sometimes people tend to feel unstoppable. You're in a very, very, very dangerous situation. Very dangerous, because then you're gonna think that you're gonna act like you have, you're gonna create a whole mess around you with sometimes even debt. But let's not go there. But you're gonna, in your own mind, you're gonna create in your own mind something that you think is a fucked up world where people, it's so fucked up because people want to drive nice cars because they don't feel secure with them themselves. So they want to buy a car which they sometimes they even believe to themselves that they can afford that, which in reality, even if they have the money, they really don't have the financial capability to have a car like that. So this is where the fucked up, and then they buy it because they want to feel more secure, and then they feel miserable because they're worried that they made a big purchase, and they try to fulfill themselves by putting themselves in a situation where people are going to think positively about them, think higher about them, and it's just in their head. Analyze yourself. If you're one of those people, create a different vision in your mind and fight for a vision, not for money, because that won't change. Just think to yourself the moment 3 years ago, if you had less money 3 years ago, and you have more money now, and think, did that change? Do you like, oh, I feel financially fulfilled now? If you do, good, stay where you are. But if you don't, and you still like ambitions to get more money, go for it. This is not an excuse to sit on your ass and not do anything. You gotta produce, you gotta make more. That's what we're here in this world for, to make more. If you don't, this is gonna take you to depression and just having the miserable life. So always fight for more, with the wisdom, knowing that don't overvalue money in your life, but also don't undervalue, so you don't sit in your ass. And just to repeat the last time, that it's really important that what I said. First, build your humility to know that money doesn't make you better. Having more money doesn't make you better than anybody, because there's going to be a whole shit ton of people out there who has much more money than you. And you're still a piece of sand. And that does not make you better or above anybody else. An example that I can use real quick is, if you start to really get mentors, wealthy mentors, which I think you should, wealthy mentors, successful mentors in all areas of their life. You don't want to follow a rich person, a rich celebrity, to try to portray your life like theirs, but their family life is messed up. Their happiness is not really in what they do, and they only have money. Look for people who do, perhaps in the industry where you work in, so you get happiness from your work as well. Same goal, same vision, but they are wise enough, from wise people who understands the same thing. I know people who makes $100 million a year, and they go to other cities where they meet with, kings of other whatever city. I forgot who, and they see that the guy has so much more power, because money can bring power in a negative way or in a positive way. You're more powerful because you have more influence. You can be the good influencer or a bad influencer. That the type of influencer you are is dictated by the amount of studying and reading that you do before you have the money. That's gonna dictate, because if you think you're a good person, and I met a lot of good people as well. Believe it or not, I met a lot of people who think they were good, and they were indeed good. They're not like criminals, but that they think they were good people in aspect of, if I had the money, I'm smart. I would invest. If I earned without working, without studying for it, if I earned $5 million now, I would be a good, would be good people. And that same person make just a little bit more money. We're still poor and broke, but make a little bit more money and start walking with everything nice, buying nice things, which is fine. The problem is, he thought he was above other people. That is the problem. And for people like that, if you know somebody that is like that, who made a little bit more, and they can buy nice things, that's fine, but they act like they are above other people, Give them 1 year. You're going to be broke again. And you're going to blame society, the economy, the government, and all the other bullshit excuses that they're going to blame, but accept themselves because they're not wise. So read books. Or if you don't read books, just try to not go after wealth, because the world will be a better... This will be a better world if we have knowledgeable people, wise people with money. And this will also be a better world if non-wise people would also not have money. Okay, so if you're not willing to read, to learn, don't go after what you think you know you're good at, because you're not, which is money. Don't go after money if you think you're a good person. That would make you better, because it's not gonna make you shit if you don't read and learn from yourself. Because a wise person is that person who knows that they don't know anything. And if you know that you know nothing, you would be reading books. That's what a wise person is. And that, guys, is my podcast. Wings Mobile Detailing. We do it every Wednesday on business. This is business. Money is business. It's all around business. So it's a business topic and auto detailing. Every Wednesday you can subscribe. Sometimes I come here with Arsenal, and please leave a review. Whatever you think of this podcast. We're starting off. We have a couple of podcasts out there, so please leave a review. Tell me what you think, because that's what's gonna keep pushing me to do more. Thank you.